cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the PWCC Weekly Hockey Auction Ending Watch Party for April the 7th, 2024. My name is Jeremy Lee, and I am excited. We have a really cool show, and my co-host, Mr. Josh Madigan, likes to tell me that we have themes for these every week, and let's bring them out. Josh, we have a theme for tonight's show. Why don't you share with everybody what you're thinking it is going to be tonight?
Super old hockey cards.
Super old hockey cards. And he's right. This is really cool tonight, guys. We have what I think are very close to complete set breaks of each of the first two hockey card sets ever to exist. The 1910 Imperial Tobacco C56 series. It's a 36 card set. I think we have 34 cards from that set in the auction. And being the first ever hockey card set, every card's a rookie card. And there are tons of Hall of Famers in the set as well. We also have the C55 1911 set, near set break, tons of singles from the set. All cards are graded by PSA in both series. And so we've got lots of the cards available from these two series. And I mean, Josh, these are sets that I think a lot of people collect. I know I collect them. I personally have the 1910 C56 set complete. I've had it complete for years. The C55 set from 1911, I don't have complete. I'm about 2/3 of the way. And so I feel like I know the feelings. I know a bit about the type of collector who might be looking to pick up some cards tonight. Now, in these two sets, Josh, in the C56 set, which is the first year, the 1910s, the grades on these cards we're going to see tonight, they're all low, like 1s, 1.5, maybe 2s. But the C55 sets, the cards from the C55 set that are available tonight, we're seeing PSA 4s, 5s, and 6s with the half grades as well. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you're out there and you're working on that C56 set the first year ever, and you're doing a low grade set, tonight's the night for you, no doubt about it. I have a feeling, Josh, that we're going to see a few people trying to pick up more than one card to get their sets advancing towards completion. And as far as the C55 set goes, you know, a higher grade, higher caliber condition of card available tonight from that set break. But same thing, people are going to want these cards, and I think they're going to want to pick up more than one at a time tonight. I went through them all earlier today, Josh. I sort of went through my checklist, what I had, what I don't have, and which cards I would be happy to add to my collection. There's like 3 or 4 available tonight in the C55 set that, you know, would fit into my set well. I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to make any plays tonight at those, but we will see. Any sort of further initial thoughts from you on just the offerings tonight of these early tobacco cards on the PWCC auction?
I'm just excited to learn. This is not an area of expertise for me by any stretch. And so, yeah, you know, that's one of my favorite parts of even co-piloting this show with you is you learn something every week. So I got a question for you right off the bat. Do you know so you mentioned that a lot of the C56, so the 1910s are low grade, a little bit higher grade in the next year. Which set is tougher to find in general copies of, or to find higher graded copies?
You know, great question. From my experience, what I see out there, I see like plenty of both C55 and C56. Now, if we also had a set break of the C57s, which was the third year, the 1912 set, the easy answer would be those. Those are by far the scarcest cards out there from those first 3 years of hockey cards from the tobacco company. So, but as far as distinguishing between the 1910s and 11s, yeah, I you know, I'm gonna say that the 1910s are tougher from a condition perspective, and you know, even that is consistent with what we're seeing offered tonight. It's also consistent with my own personal holdings, my own experience, what I have. My C56 set is a set that I had many of those graded myself. And over the years, I've upgraded a couple here and there. I think the average grade of my C56 set is like 4.08 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the C55, and I have like some lower grade cards in there, like some, the odd 2, the odd 3, a couple of qualifiers. My C55 set that I've been working on for a while, I haven't added a card to it for a long time, but that collection of cards, I don't have anything under a PSA 5. That was my boundary. That was my goal originally, was to have all PSA 5s. And Josh, when I started that, it goes back to about 2007, I think, when I purchased my first 2 cards from the series. In one fell swoop, I picked up the 2 big rookies from the 1911 set, the George Vezina and the Joe Malone. And then I built up around them, and they were both in PSA 5 holders. Bought them both one night online. And then I built the set around those 2. And I decided, well, I have the 2 of the most important cards in 5s. I'm going to try and get everything in a 5. And that was before I became really in tune with just how important it is to look at the card, not the grade. So now I will add a PSA 4 for a card that I need if it is nicely centered and looks really good. I'm not going to just be leave it to the PSA 5 as a rule. I'm willing to now kind of abandon that and just go for cards that I really, really like. So, but to your question, what we're seeing tonight on the PWCC platform and with my own collection, and just going over my recollections of traveling the card world for the last several years, I would say that the C55 set is easier to find than the C56 set, in better shape as well. So but then there's the C57s. We do have one card, the Cyclone Taylor from the C57 set, is available in this auction tonight, and it is a high grade, i.e. a PSA 5, I think. And that is a spectacular card. It's the only C57 that's being offered tonight. And here, let's just bring these up for a moment here. So as you guys can see here, we've got all I'm going to scroll to the top. Here are the C56, 1910, C56, and you're seeing PSA 1, PSA 1, PSA 1. And these are nice, beautiful portraits for the most part, a few full body shots. And as a rule, I didn't know this until, a veteran told me this, Josh, but any of these C56 that are the full body shot are tougher to find in good shape than all these portraits. So, and look at the creases going through this copy right here. We have 3 more portraits. Most of them are portraits, as you can see as I'm scrolling through. But we did see that one full body shot, and then we get here's another one, and look at the condition of this thing. It's got creases throughout. And then you got the C55s, which are still colored cards, but they added this really nice design element, these hockey sticks going down either side of the card, a little bit of more design factors up in the corners, the names on a nice name banner here, whereas on the C56s, the name is just sort of down at the bottom, really similar to what the T206s in baseball look like. You got the name and the hockey team that they played for right there. So these are cool offerings. And, when I remember being younger and thinking to myself, like, this is the cat's meow, these early cards. This is what started the whole thing, this whole hobby. And so I'm still love them. I love the sets, and I love the fact that you're gonna, if you collect these sets or you collect cards from these early tobacco years, you're gonna be able to pick up so many Hall of Famers and rookie cards, and of course pioneers of the sport. Right here, Art Ross, the card number 8 in a PSA 1. There are 2 players that each have 2 cards in the series, and Art Ross is one of them. He has card number 8 and card number 12. And it's always fun to talk about which one is more important, which one is more desirable. And I don't know that either one is. I think it comes down to personal taste. Here's the other one. Here's card number 12. I mean, that's nice. 8, I think I like 8 a bit more. It's just a little, it just, they're both cool though. I don't know. I mean, do you have a choice? Do you have a preference, Josh? Let me put them beside each other as to which Art Ross you prefer, this one or this one.
I don't know. It's like a horse apiece for me. One thing or comment I do want to make, and based on something you said a minute or two ago, Jeremy, that I think is really key to appreciating these cards is we have researched a fair amount of these players for our show. And not only were these the original NHL players in many cases, you said that they're the pioneers of the game. And a lot of these guys, like Frank Patrick, invented like the blue line, so it's like
Hmm.
they really were the inventors of hockey in addition to the game's first great players.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's, if you want to go down that rabbit hole of studying these players, reading up on them, I mean, you're just going to learn all sorts of things about the history of hockey in the early days. So it's pretty amazing. And when I saw that these were offered, I was very excited because these cards are close to my heart.
Hmm.
I love them. They will likely be among the last cards that I end up moving when I'm much older. And look at this, the Art Ross card number 8, PSA 1 with here it is bigger with, we've got we got a little bit of maybe even a slight tear up there. We got a crease coming through here. We got a crease coming down here, right across the card here. That's more than a crease. That's more like a bend. You got corner issues, of course, edge issues here. Like the card, despite all that though, it's got good centering. It's got good color, a good image of him, but the technical condition is still a 1. But look what it's sitting at right now. It's at $1,500. Which is $1,800 with buyer's premium. So even in a PSA 1, the Art Ross, one of the Art Ross rookies, does pretty well. And here's card number 12 at $1,700. So this one's even a bit higher right now, and as far as where the bid is at. I already had that one open, and I think that it's got to do with the fact that I'm not seeing the crease that is just so in your face going across here and coming down here on the other one. We do have issues here though. And, we certainly have issues. There are some creases coming through. There's little, what might've been pinholes or little bits of paper loss throughout the card there. And of course, we're not looking at the backs, which will be telling as well. And of course, encourage everybody who's looking at these to make sure you're looking.
So, like on this card, his face and his body, I think, are pretty unaffected by a lot of the errors, and so I think that makes both cards. It's really hard when there's a crease like right through the middle of their face to have that eye appeal to
Yeah.
appreciate the cards. And just getting back to that history aspect a little bit. So you have Art Ross, right, who today we all associate with the leading point scorer in the NHL, winning the Art Ross Trophy. And then you learn that he was a defenseman, and you're like, so that's weird, right? That the Art Ross Trophy awarded to the player with the most points is named after a guy who played defense. But it's
Yeah.
like just kind of crazy things like that are part of the fabric and the history of the game.
Yeah, exactly. This card right here, this is card number 1. Frank Patrick, Lester Patrick's brother. Frank Patrick's not a Hall of Famer, but his brother, at least not as a player. So,
Mhm.
and I will refer to Hall of Famers tonight a little bit, but when I'm referring to Hall of Famers, I'm referring to players, not builders. Nothing against the builders,
Mhm.
but as a collector, personally, I'd say I'm 98% interested in players, and builders, referees, linesmen. Those kinds of things are also in the Hall of Fame. Don't interest me as much. But so if I say Frank Patrick, I believe he is in the Hall of Fame, but he's not in there as a player. Whereas his brother Lester, who's also in the set. But back to Frank for a moment. This is card number 1. This is basically recognized as the very first, single player hockey card. And that's really cool right there. So Harold Mack number 1.5. This card looks beautiful for the condition. One of my favorites, card number 15, is the Cyclone Taylor. And look at this thing. This is a PSA 1. It's got to have paper loss on the back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at that. Let's open this one up and get a look at the back of this, because again, I think we looked at this think we looked at this last week, Josh. But if we open up the back, you'll see that there is significant paper loss throughout the top, as it was probably removed from a binder or an album, I should say. And luckily, it's only at the top. It doesn't really infringe upon any of the data, the text that's on the card telling you that he played with Portage La Prairie, which I've been to many times, Pittsburgh and Ottawa. Pretty funny. Ottawa up there as most recent when this card came out. I just love the Cyclone Taylor. And this card, I mean, again, just based on the condition on the front, this is a gorgeous copy for a 1.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what this is going to sell for tonight, but $18.75 already, which is for a 1 seems high to me, but for this one, it does not seem high to me. I like seeing the respect being paid for the card's presentation versus the technical grade on the slab. And I think that's what's happening here, because someone's saying, listen, this thing is going to fit in beautifully with my collection, as long as I don't turn it over all the time and look at the back. The front is amazing. That front looks like it could be a 5. So really, really like what we're seeing
going
there.
back to the Frank Patrick real quick. And another thing that, again, you talk about being the first hockey card. He's also the guy that is credited with the tracking assists. So we have assists today because of Frank Patrick. It's like you think like, where would the game, all the points and how we measure players and player performance? It's like, what an impact.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Love that you're bringing all these trivia bits to the show tonight. I see lots of comments. We're going to get to those in a couple of minutes here, everybody. We're not going to go through, I don't think, and focus on each and every card, but we have to highlight the highlights of the set. And the Newsy Lalonde, the last card in the set, card number 36, is certainly a highlight of the set. And I mean, here, we're going to do this. We're going to just open up the images. It's easier for us to zoom in and out. So here's card number 36. Last card of the set, as I mentioned. Centering is nice. It grades out a 1.5. We can see a crease coming all the way through here, all the way through there. Obviously, obvious edge and corner issues. Not seeing any other creases that are jumping out at me, but I wonder if there are some more. Let's go to the back of this card. Yeah, you can see a crease right through there, right here, in here. You got the two-tone on the back, lighter up here, darker down over here. Overall, still not too bad of a card for the grade, and it looks really nice from the front. It does have some, I don't know if it's discoloration or staining, but I'm noticing something right in this area over here, a bit more over here along the top. As we come down, we have some little, I'm not sure what these are. These little tobacco remnants. I don't know what this is right here, but these little look like little red droplets almost. But again, these cards are rare, and this one is overall very nice on the front, at least, and the back wasn't bad too for what it is. It's at $2,500. That's at $3,000 on a PSA 1.5 Newsy Lalonde. Nick Ball, Patty Moran, a Hall of Famer. Look at that, great centering for a PSA 1 right there. Riley Hearn, Skinner Poulin, Tom Dunderdale. These cards look really. Now this one does not look good. This card, this is. So here's the interesting thing. We've seen so many ones here just in the last 10 minutes, Josh. This looks like those other ones. This drags them down. This is not the same card, the same condition card as the ones we were just looking at.
There's a very wide spectrum of a PSA 1. That's what we're learning today.
Exactly. So this Jack Marshall, and I believe Jack Marshall has 2 cards in the set. Number 35, I think his other card is 33, maybe 33 or 32. And let's just see if we can find it in here. But that is a dirty card. And here it is right here. Card number 33 is his other one. So this guy here and this guy here are the same guy. You can kind of tell. Now this one is a 1.5. This is a lot nicer, despite the registration, which is very off. That is so much nicer than this card here, and they're both, 1 and a 1.5, pretty close in grade. But this is a far superior card. And just look at the gap here between the black line and the start of the white. You can see it coming over here. You can see the white coming across. Like a part of the picture is on the other side of the border. So that's a poorly registered card, but still overall for 1.5, really, really nice. Really nice card. We got the Katarinich. We got there's the Lester. He's Josh, a lot about, you've been studying this stuff. This guy is a Hall of Famer. And look at this. It's a PSA 1. This thing looks like a 4, a 5 even on the front. Let's take a look at what's going on in the back of this one, because there has to be something going on there for this. Yeah, same thing. These all come from what appears to be the same collection or the same album, because look, you're missing the top half of the back of the card here. And the rest of it looks really nice. So you got, this is where, as a collector,
I wonder if they were like glued onto something or something like that. And
yeah, that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it would have been glued into an album. But this is where, as a collector out there, you have to decide, like, how important is the back to you? Are you willing to sacrifice the back to take on hopefully a more affordable card with a lower technical grade, but having still what to me is a beautiful front? We saw it on the Newsy as well. A couple of the important cards from the set. So lots to choose from as far as these pre-war early C-Series hockey cards go. The C55s and C56s. The C55s now, you notice a lot of people prefer the C55 just with they're just, I don't know, they're really nice. We don't see much like it in baseball, whereas with the C56s, they look almost identical to the T206s in style. But these C55s are great. Here's the Art Ross. This is a PSA 4. Look at that. Now you look at the corners on this. I mean, we saw PSA 1s in the C56 set with way nicer, sharper corners than this. But this is still a pretty nice looking card. Look at how at least the corners are beautifully uniform in their rounding. And I like that. If you come down to the bottom here, a bit of dirt down on the bottom left here, but it's Art Ross. And I think this is such a cool looking card. I just love it. So you can pick up his first 3 cards. So you can get the 2 from the C56 set, the 1 from the C55 set here, and be well on your way. We're going to have to look at the Phantom Joe Malone, as well as obviously the George Vezina. Let's see where those are hiding out here. Eugene Payan, Frank Glass, Fred Lake. There's the Vezina. Oh, and of course the Cyclone Taylor as well. Okay, I'm just going to close up a bunch of these before I get too lost here, Josh.
While you're doing that, I found my notes on both Lester and Frank Patrick, and again, here's some of their accomplishments really quick. They introduced 22 rules that are still active today in the NHL. I mentioned the blue line, the playoff system, numbers on jerseys. If you like that in hockey, you can thank the Patrick brothers, and then the penalty shot, something that they introduced to the game. And also, and I think this is really cool, having a daughter that plays hockey. They were really the first pioneers of women's hockey.
Yeah, that's
later on in life.
That is very cool for sure. Very cool. Okay, I'm just opening up images of some of the more important cards from the set. So let's do that. Then we'll go to some comments. So the Cyclone Taylor right here, card number 20, PSA 4. Looks so this copy, I looked at this earlier today because I don't have this in my set yet. I don't have the Taylor. And I thought, well, if this is a nice 4, I might take a stab at it. And I looked at it and it looks good at first, but when I zoom in to this this area here, we have a chunk of the border missing. I'm not convinced this would grade out a 4 today. I don't know. It seems overgraded to me by PSA. This is nasty here. Like this is to me, this is a serious blemish on the card. But if you do ignore that, it's decent. Centering's tough on all these cards. By the way, it is. This is off center. but it's still pretty cool despite all that. I would, if I was shopping for this card, which this isn't one for me, but if I was shopping for this card, I would be, and I wanted to make sure I was going to pay, at least along with whatever comps might be out there. And I don't know what's out there, but I would be looking at this as a very weak 4, as far as what I'd be willing to pay for it. And I might just hold out for a night. There's probably 3s that are nicer than this 4 out there. I'm got to be quite certain of that, actually. But a very important card, the Cyclone Taylor, the Vezina. This is the grail of pre-war hockey cards, and deservedly so. It's iconic. It's beautiful. It's been important for so long, and it's in a PSA 4 holder here, and it looks pretty nice to me. Nicer than the Taylor we just saw. It does have some gloss loss on the corners. It's got something going on, a little bit of a small line going through there and here. I'm not sure what that is. Bit of a stain over here, a stain over here, a stain over here. Corners are slightly rounded, a little bit of gloss loss as well. But these cards, this card is it's going to make someone very happy tonight. Definitely know that for sure. And this is, again, I believe, the most important pre-war hockey card. And to me, the second most important pre-war hockey card is the Howie Morenz from 1923, the Patterson set. But this is a big card, a very important, and a PSA 5. You just flashed that, I think, on your Instagram. A PSA 5 recently sold for like 17,000 USD.
Crazy. Yeah.
And this is a PSA 4. And let's see if I think 12,000 when I looked at it earlier today. Where'd it go? Here it is. Oh, sorry, 10,000. It must have been 10 plus 2. So 10,500 now is the bid on the Vezina. Then we have the Joe Malone. Joe Malone, I think, has the record for scoring the most goals in a game. Maybe
I think it's
Josh,
8.
I don't know, 8 goals in a game. Yeah, I mean, this is a player that when I was, in the 80s, I was aware of Joe Malone, and when I went and I bought my Malone and my Vezina, Joe Malone was really as important to me as Vezina was back when I bought those 2 cards. So I love the Joe Malone. Nice looking 4, similar to the Vezina. You can see the centering's off, but little bit faded in color, perhaps. The Vezina's got pretty good color. The Malone may be a little bit faded, and I'm just saying that because I'm just kind of noticing in the hair here and along the neckline on the turtleneck here. But a great card, an important card as well. Hall of Famer, of course. There's the Newsy Lalonde, second-year Newsy. So these are rookies. These are first years. This is a second-year Newsy. This is in a PSA 4 holder again. And this actually, condition-wise looks better than the last 2 that we looked at. I'm not seeing the stains. I'm not seeing a big chunk out of the edge here. Like, look at this 4 compared to this. Like, this is bad. I don't know how that got a 4. To me, this is probably like a 2 because of that. Anyway, so the Malone is a nice 4. The Lalonde is a nice 4. And then we got the Walter Smale. And this card's interesting because he's got 2 cards in the set. And I believe they're both numbered 27, I believe to be the case. And it's quite simply, one is called right hand on hip, and one is called right hand on stick. So it just got to do with where his hand is here. And his hand's always on this side, of course, but there's a stick showing in one version and no stick in the other. And I believe right hand on hip is the tougher card that usually sells for more. I believe that to be the case. I know when I picked up my copy, I just luckily happened to pick up the right hand on hip for my set. And then I was, I didn't really know or care. I went and looked or asked around and found that to be the case. So, but a nice copy, a little off-centered down, a little bit low, but a 4.5 is a great grade on this card. And what's the Smale at? I've kind of lost my spot back on the main page here, but I want to see what that is sitting at price-wise. I looked earlier and I thought I felt like the bid was low. It's at $1,000 now, so better than what I saw earlier. Okay, let's go to some comments. We'll just sit here. You guys can look at the Cyclone Taylor from the C57 series and just see how much different they are. These are like Kleenex almost. Let's say hello to everybody. Sorry, it's been some time. Extended bidding, guys. All access extended bidding has just started. I'm going to put the affiliate link, the Sports Cards Live affiliate link into the chat. If you are bidding on any cards today, please click on that link and either copy and paste it into a browser or click on it. And greatly appreciate it if you do that. Helps us out and just lets PWCC know that that you guys like what we're doing here. Jacob Dahl, let's go. Rally, what's going on? Brett S., good morning to you. GC says to you, Josh, got the Kirill acetate in from a few weeks ago where there was discussion of the condition based on the heat map image. It's pristine, no issues on the card. Good to hear. Yeah, great to hear, GC. Congratulations. Jake Dahl's got his eyes on a few cards tonight. Todd McDonald, good evening. Yeah, well, you've seen some by now. We'll look forward to seeing you at the expo in about 3 weeks. Hobby Champs says, I'm only bidding on one card tonight. Not very exciting. Well, hey, good luck. Good luck. Let us know how it goes. Robert Scott, good evening to you. Laura says, do we know the backstory? No, we don't know who the consignor is or any, at least I don't know. Maybe someone who knows the consignor knows, but because we're seeing such consistency on the backs, I think they are one person's collect. I think it goes without saying that these are coming from one person's collection. What's up, Craig? Good to see you. He says, don't show the art. Ross, too late. Sorry. Oops. Jeff McMahon, good evening. BC Neal says the C56, C55 don't have that many cards. Yeah, it's 36 cards in the C56. It's 48 cards in the C55. And then there were 50 cards in the C57 set. And then there's no more tobacco cards after that. Vintage says, I love tobacco cards because of the history, of course. Yeah, it's such a great way to put you into several rabbit holes. What's going on, Gary? Welcome to the show. Tom Newman, good evening to you as well. Robert Scott says Art Ross is like the Cy Young of hockey or vice versa. Both have major trophies named after them. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I like this. What GC says, I would have thought of assists if Frank didn't. Yeah.
There you go.
For sure. I caught that when it came in. I snickered. Good comment, GC. Gary says it's amazing how nice these C56 and C55 cards are for cards that are over 100 years old. Yeah, they're 115 years old almost now. Tom Newman says, Josh is one of the most knowledgeable hosts you have, man. Awesome duo. Well, there you go, Josh. And thank you, Tom Newman. Vintage Card comments on the sweaters. Yeah, that's something I always look at. I always notice when I look at these cards. Yeah, these ones aren't quite as interesting, but these ones with the stripes are super cool. Look at that one. I believe that's Ottawa. Cool jersey.
The team names too, like the Millionaires and what is it, like Renfrew, like Creamery or something like that?
Yeah.
It was like one of the teams.
Yeah. It's, I mean, hey, this is pre-NHL stuff right here. Vintage Card Collector. Why does the chronological order go C56, then 55, then 57? Well, that's just because when Jefferson Burdick came out with this, with the naming system, he probably thought that the C55 set came out first for whatever reason. I mean, why else would he? That's all I can think of. And then, as time went on and people researched it and figured out that no, it actually was the other way, but the naming convention remained. So, and when I say people do this research, people like Bobby Burrell, who's always looking into these things and trying to, nail down these periods of time. So thank you to people like that who've gone out of their way. And of course, Jefferson Burdick, who is the godfather of the hobby. Bobby Burrell says hand on hip for Walter Smale looks deflated. So this one came out first. He's saying the hand on hip came out before the hand on stick. So maybe that was an update to the artwork. I think that's what Bobby's getting at. GC says for multiple cards for certain players, i.e. card number 27, does someone attempting the full set need to get both? Yeah. So GC, personally, for me as a collector, I don't need both. My set will be complete with one of each card. I don't need both Walter Smales for my set to be complete. I think on the PSA set registry, there are two versions of the registry. I think one is the basic and one is the maybe master or something like that includes both of them. But to me, I don't need both. I'm happy with just one. Jake Dolph is another great thing about pre-war tobacco cards. You can collect them anyway, even not collecting the big names.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. And Bobby says the C57 are his favorite of the C series. They used 32 of the photos from the Sweet Cap postcards, 23 Hall of Fame members in the C57 series. Yeah,
Wow.
that's that. So if we compare that to how many Hall of Famers in the 1910 C56 set, 17 Hall of Famers. Now, players again, 17 Hall of Fame players in the 1910 set. And I believe, okay. And again, they're all rookies. So just to keep that in mind. And in the 1911 C55 set, you've got 7 Hall of Fame player rookies. So I didn't do the research into the builders because I'm just not interested in that personally. I shouldn't say that. I am interested in the builders, but for my collecting, I'm more interested in the players. Okay. Let's continue along here. If anyone wants us to look any further at any of these C56 or C55 cards, just let us know. Bobby's favorite set are the C57s. Let's open this up. This is the only year of these tobacco cards that was not done in color. These are easily the hardest to find, and they're easily the hardest to find in good condition. This card is it's like it's crazy that it even exists to find a Cyclone Taylor in a PSA 6 holder. This is just an amazing card. And what's this? What's this? It's $2,800 plus buyer's premium right now. So, and I would expect that to go up a little bit more anyway. Great card right there. And yeah, just awesome. Okay. Josh, we looked at this one a little bit last week at the end of the show as we were previewing this week. Yep. 1954 tops, Gordy Howe. This is an SGC 1, and it's pretty beat up. This is a pretty beat up copy. This is a way, I think this is a card that someone who wants one of these, but you are not in the, you're just not in that, you're not in the position financially to put out thousands of dollars. This might be one of your best opportunities to still pick up this card. The image of Gordy is still pretty good. Obviously it's got creases, I think, in several places. You can see there's a bend through there at one time. Corners are really rounded and worn. Tons of corner surface wear right by the corner. So much so that even the letter D in Detroit, is marred by creases and just wear. You can see the edges they look very delicate and fragile to me. Corners are completely rounded. It almost looks like the card was meant to have rounded corners, but we know that it wasn't. Big crease coming right through the Red Wings logo over here. But if you just sit back and you look at this card, when Joe Orlando, back when he was with PSA, and this goes back probably 20 years ago now, when they put out their Mount Rushmore of each of the sports for cards, the Mount Rushmore of hockey cards includes the Bobby Orr 66 tops, the 79 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky, then the George Vezina from 1911, the C55, and this card right here. They didn't put the 51 Parker Gordy Howe rookie on the Mount Rushmore. They put this 54 tops Gordy Howe on the Mount Rushmore of hockey cards. And I don't know that I agree with that anymore. I think the rookie card is very, very important. I think it's more important than this card is now. But this is still, it's from the very first. It's very similar to the Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle's first tops card is 52. Same thing as this. This is Gordy Howe's first tops card, 54. They both have earlier cards, right? Mantle has the 51 Bowman, and Gordy Howe has the 51 Parkhurst. So it's there's an interesting parallel there. However, in hockey, I do believe that the 51 Parkhurst is more valuable than the 54 tops, whereas in baseball, it's the opposite. So these things don't always work consistently, but this is a big card. Josh, what are your thoughts on the 54 tops, Gordy Howe?
Well, obviously the condition is really rough, but here's my perspective on this. And it just speaks to me to a different era of life and how we looked at stuff like hockey cards, where today you open a pack and you don't even touch it, right? You just instantly in a penny sleeve and into a top loader if it's any good player or any good card. Where this card is really respective to me of the era and how cards were not treated. It was weird probably at the time to have a perfect condition Gordy Howe. So I think of like a 10, 12-year-old kid, just throwing the card around with his buddies and trading or collecting or playing some sort of weird game that they invented. And almost like that this would be like a movie prop
Hmm.
in a way, right? So like if you were doing a movie about this time period, this is the condition of a card that would make most sense, right? Not a crisp, clean, centered, sharp corner, sharp edge card. And so, yeah, as I look at it through that lens, I have an appreciation for cards like this. Are we doing last card standing?
Oh, Survivor. Yeah, we should. Let's get through the comments and then we'll scroll all the cards and then we'll do. Are we changing it to be called last card standing? Because you just threw that out.
I don't know. No, I just no. I sorry if I used the wrong term.
That's
I was
no.
just
I'm
speaking
open.
colloquially.
I'm open to it. I mean, last card
No.
standing is actually it makes a lot of sense to me. But okay, let's go through a couple more comments here before we go through more cards at the moment. And Bobby Burrell, what's going on? Thanks for being here. BC Neal, does the bubbling in the holders affect the value? Some look like PSA should have tried again. Yeah, I don't think it does, but I think it should because the reason I think it should is I think some people will avoid those. I know I don't like cards where they don't really fit in the holders. Bobby says, not bad, not a bad one for Howe. He says it's good from far. And meanwhile, it's called poor. One is a poor, good is a 2. And I'm just playing on the words there because Bobby says use the word good, and a 2 is good. This is poor, but I think Bobby's right. It's decent from afar. Maybe a good from far. Maybe it looks more like a 2 from afar is what he's saying. Here's some knowledge. He says that the 1954 tops were from artwork that we are yet to find who painted them or any originals, although Leland's had some many years ago. That's interesting, Bobby. Painted from artwork. Yeah, the original art for these would be unbelievable to own. Imagine having the Gordy. And the professor has joined the chat. Good evening, Professor. All right. Let's now scroll through the cards that we're looking at, and let's pick our survivor cards, our last card standing. Everyone in the chat is invited to join. So I'm not going to scroll through all the C55s and C56s, but feel free to choose from among them for your choice out there, everybody. So continuing on, there's the Gordy Howe, Bobby Hull rookie, just got a bid. Bobby Hull, 4th year, beautiful copy. We have these Coca-Colas. We got Perrant, Cheevers, and Johnny Bauer. We got the Esposito rookie. We got a 68 Makita, gorgeous card. We got the Dryden rookie. We got the last active playing days card of Gordy Howe. 2 Gretzky rookies here. We have a top 7 and a tops 4. A Ray Bourque, BGS 9, a Lemieux tops PSA 8, and what I think is one of the most beautiful autograph cards I've seen. This Signs of Excellence Gretzky from 2001 SPX. Malkin Young Gun, Carlson Young Gun, McKinnon Future Watch. And then on page 2, we've got this McDavid Ultimate Throwback Design. We got a Lemieux Cup base card buyback auto, numbered 4 of 5. Stamkos 2016 PMG Green. Jack Hughes Future Watch. McDavid buyback auto jersey from 2016. We've got a Jack Hughes Young Gun. We've got a Connor Bedard Juniors Regina Pats card, PSA 10. We got the Kucherov Young PMG Green and the Stamkos PMG Green, both from 2021 Metal Universe. We got some cheddar, guys. We got some cheddar. McDavid cheddar. We got a Bedard Team Canada auto patch out of 125. We got a Bedard Game Dated Moments Gold PSA 10. And finally, we have a Bedard Young Guns PSA 10. So with all that, we are now looking for our survivor last card standing picks. What are we going to hone in on here? And Josh, would you care to pick first?
Can you show me the 2 Art Rosses again from the C56 set? I believe it was.
Yes, card number 12
that one
here. Josh, okay, let me get my notes down here as we do this. So Josh is taking Art Ross number 12. Okay, no one else has picked from the chat. You guys are welcome to make your picks from the cards we are looking at. I'm going to make mine before someone takes it. And I'm going to go with that Gretzky auto that I just mentioned. I love the looks of. Where'd it go? So it must be on the first page near the bottom. I'm going to pick this right here, the Gretzky Signs of Excellence. And Signs of Excellence. All right, we got Laura is picking the Lalonde. So Laura, are you picking the Lalonde from the C56 or the C55? Which one are you picking? BC Neal is taking the C57 Cyclone Taylor. Nice pick.
It's a good pick.
I do wonder what that'll do. C57 Cyclone Taylor. Laura, if you can confirm which newsie you are trying to pick, and we will watch for some more picks. Gary has come through with the Vezina rookie. Laura confirms the C55. Okay, Laura, thank you very much. Gary's got the Vezina C55.
Everyone's going pre-war, but you, Jeremy.
I know. Bobby, I don't think you can take the Taylor because BC Neal beat you to it, Bobby. You can't take the Cyclone Taylor. It's one card per person, at least until Josh and I, try to formalize this a little bit more. But you can't take that, Bobby. Please pick again. BC Neal beat you to the C57 Cyclone Taylor. All right. Let's continue looking at some of these cards, though, Josh.
Yep.
You were typing. You didn't type fast enough, Bobby. Okay. We looked at the Gordy Howe. This is a PSA 5, 1958 tops, Bobby Hull rookie card with PWCC above average eye appeal rating. Let's take a look at this card because this card is very nice. The centering is really strong for this card. It's notoriously off center, being the last card in the set, bottom corner of the sheet. I learned that from Bobby. Really tough card to find centered. This one is really nice. The color is great. The border is nice and bright. Good coloring here. I'm seeing a little bit of color issue, surface issue right here. It looks like some scales or some cracking, but not really. Just some faded color right there. You see it over here as well, but not too bad. This is to me is a strong 5. I really think this is a strong 5, and Bobby is going to now he just says right here, let's go Hull. Centering is amazing.
Can you explain more of the bottom corner of the sheet comment?
No, you know what? All I know is that from talking to Bobby is that this being card number 66, last card on the set, on the printing sheet, on the uncut sheet, it was the bottom, I guess the bottom right of the sheet. And for whatever reason, cards on that corner, I guess, were more prone to being miscut or off center. I mean, to me, it's like, does that really make sense? Because if that card's off center, shouldn't all the cards on the sheet be off center? But I don't know how they were sliced and diced. Was it simply, did they take a guillotine to each column of that sheet? If so, then I can understand. Plus the other things, Josh, is that, you would have on the sheet, the cutters would have had less room on that left border to cut versus the right, because the right goes to the end of the sheet. So there's going to be extra paper there. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe that has something to do with it. But this is a copy that, I don't have my own eye appeal sticker, but I would give this my own eye appeal sticker. PWCC does have their own sticker. They give it above average. I agree with that. At least it's a top 30% copy. It's likely even better than that, I would think. I love this copy. I love it. Like, if anyone buys it, I fully support the purchase of this card here. And then we've got his 1961 tops, right here beside each other, 2 Bobby Hulls. And, we sometimes look at these non-rookies, Josh, because they're just so nice. We looked at the Makita from this year last week. Look at this card. I mean, this thing it's a mint 9, but it's an absolute blazer of a card. The Blazer division from Chris Sewell's Blazer division. A beautiful, who will actually be at the expo. Chris Sewell from Baseball Card Collector Investor Dealer, in that order of YouTube notoriety. He will be at the expo this year, this in 3 weeks from now. Anyway, this is an amazing copy. So anyone who's doing the Bobby Hull run, anyone who's working on 61 tops, anyone who's doing the PSA Hall of Fame player registry that doesn't require them to be rookie cards. This is a great way to get into a beautiful Bobby Hull. These 61s grow on me, Josh, week after week when we see nice cards from them. Okay, let's keep on rolling. Okay, so Josh, these are interesting because these are cards I'm not very familiar with, and I wouldn't have really picked them to look at because they're 5s, 6s, 4s for the Bauer. Well, we have 10 to $30 here. But what I found most interesting about these cards was with respect to the Bernie Parent, because this is a 1965 Coca-Cola perforated Bernie Parent. PWCC has called it a rookie. And I mean, I think it's definitely from his rookie year. Mm-hmm. But then you think about his rookie card. His rookie card didn't come out until 1968, Topps and O-Pee-Chee. This is 3 years earlier. I didn't really know this card existed. And here we have it, $31. Bernie Parent's a Hall of Famer. Stanley Cups, Philadelphia Flyers, Boston Bruins back in, I guess he was originally drafted or with the Bruins, went to the Flyers, which is where he really hit his stride. This is really cool. And I mean, this is, I think, an under-the-radar sort of issue, and I say that under even my radar until really right now. And like I've seen these before, but I've just glossed over them. They didn't interest me. This is pretty cool. And again, it's a 3. It's like the Michael Jordan star that came out 2 years before his recognized rookie card did. Is this the Star 101 equivalent?
Isn't there like a Wilt Chamberlain card that's sort of like that too, like a black and white photo?
It's a Topps test Wilt Chamberlain as well, but I don't know what year did those come out? I think those came out later. Yeah, I think those came out. His rookie is 1961 rookie card. I think those basketball Topps test cards came out after. I'm not 100% certain, but I think they're a later issue, and they're super, super rare. Anyway, Coca-Cola cards, pretty cool. Bobby says, as far as the cutting the Bobby Hull card, he says the guide markers on the machine have to align with the sheet, and minimum wage doesn't necessarily draw perfectionists. Okay, fair enough, Bobby. But hey, that's the reality of it, right? Brett S says, I wish I was going to the expo. Just went to a card show here in Adelaide on the weekend. 0 hockey cards. Brett S, I've spent time in Adelaide. I got to tell you, it was one of my favorite places in Australia. Was Adelaide. That was 35 years ago, but I still have good memories of it. All right, let's roll on to the next row. 1965 Topps Phil Esposito rookie card, SGC 9 with exceptional eye appeal, putting it in the top 15%. Josh, we got to look at this card. And right away, this thing is, again, it's a blazer. Look at this. The corners are sharp. The edges are sharp. The color is bold and bright, and like the print job, it's perfectly.
You got to open the back on this one because SGC does 9.5 too. I'm a little shocked right now that
it's not higher graded.
Yes.
Well, let's do what you said. Let's take a look at the back of the card, because this card looks to be unbelievable. So there's it's perfect. Like what?
Zoom in on the upper left corner.
Yeah, I can't tell what's going on there. I can't zoom any further than that. There's something going on, but even at this magnification, I can't really see what it is. That corner is great. The edges are perfect. I mean, maybe it's probably not a 10. Even this bottom right corner, just it's not perfect, but it's still exceptional. This card is truly phenomenal. Let's go back to the front of it. Like the registration, I think is perfect. I'm not seeing any signs of less than perfect registration and focus. The color is there's no fisheyes anywhere. I'm not seeing any PD or print defect anywhere on this thing. Unbelievable copy. Maybe the nicest copy I've ever laid eyes on. Todd McDonald's going to take it for Survivor. You got it, Todd. You got it. Nice pick. Nice pick from Todd. Bobby gives us some information on these Coca-Cola cards from right here. Let's read this. 1965 Coke were mailed away in an envelope with no protection and were accordion folded with perforations, hard to get in high grade. Bobby's literally written the book on this stuff. So you guys, most of you probably know who Bobby is by now, but if you don't, as I say, he literally wrote the book on this stuff. I've got both versions of it up there on my bookshelf. And which you can't just go buy now, unfortunately. He kind of ran out of Bobby. Might be time to put together. And there we go. Hold on, Josh. Hold that up there. Might be time. There it is. There's the more. Is that the first version or the second version? I think that's the first. That's the first version. Can you just open it up? I'll know right away if you open it up, Josh. Just flip through. Just show me the first few pages. I'm trying to do this backwards. Yeah, that's the first issue. That's the first version. He put out an updated version of this. In any event, Bobby's going to know about all this stuff. So thanks, Bobby. Appreciate that. Okay. This, again, just to put a bow on Esposito, this I think is the nicest copy. Oh, I got to put myself back on the screen here. This to me is the nicest Esposito rookie card I've ever seen. So, yeah.
For a couple more days, the number 10 all-time scorer. It was soon to be 11, but as of right now.
Still up there. A very sort of hobby underappreciated. He would be considered like among the GOATs, the multiple GOATs of the era sort of thing. But in the hobby, I know Mitch Grotman likes to collect his stuff. I don't know anyone else that does, though. So I think Mitch is onto something there. All right. 1968 O-Pee-Chee, the first year of O-Pee-Chee, since the pre-war stuff. They took a hiatus from 1940 till 1968, came back, and they put out this amazing looking set. I love this set. They're all horizontal cards, nice colors, cool backgrounds, and this is the Makita. Far from being a rookie. Well, it's about his 8th year card or so, but it's just, these are hard to find in good condition. And this is a PSA 8. So another great Makita to go along with his 4th year that we saw. Oh no, that was last week. I'm thinking of Bobby Hall now. Great Makita card right here. And Josh, a beautiful 1971 O-Pee-Chee Ken Dryden rookie card in a BVG 8.5 holder with above average eye appeal assessment from PWCC. And, centering is obviously where we look first on these cards. I say obvious because my mind is always drawn to the gap between the middle of the left edge and the middle of the right edge. And this is, I would say, very close to perfect centering. I don't think it's exact bang on, but it's really, really close. Coloring looks really good. The card's just in great shape. Corners, edges. This is definitely a pack pulled card. No, risk that this is a sheet cut card that made it into a Beckett slab. From a color perspective, though, I don't know if this is the lighting, Josh, or if this is some fading on the print on the bottom, like third or quarter of the R, the Y, the D, the E, and maybe even a bit of the N. The D over here looks good, but right in a little bit of light fading there, just to be really picky about the card here, guys. But that's a great copy overall. What did you think about this one, Josh?
Yeah, it's a beautiful card. I was just looking up comps, and I think this maybe was in the auction last month and maybe didn't get paid for, and so was relisted, because the last actually comp is this card on a lot of the card price indexes. But yeah, I mean, it's got great eye appeal. I don't know if we noticed last time then that maybe some of the fading on his last name, but that is a good point. But it feels a little at an 8.5 grade, though. I think I can live with that.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree with that completely. Yeah. It's a great copy for sure. Okay, a trio of 1979 cards. We have the O-Pee-Chee, Gordy Howe, and two Topps Gretzky's. Now this is a nice Gordy Howe card. It's a PSA 8. Centering is pretty good. It's a little bit off center to the right. Top to bottom looks almost perfect, though. It's really cool. I think we've said before, Josh, I believe that this card, that the picture of Gordy Howe was taken the same day as the picture on Wayne Gretzky's rookie card. I believe this picture was taken the same night as this picture because, and I could be way off there, but hold on, I want to keep that up because there's Edmonton Oilers in the background here. That's why I say that. So who knows? Maybe they were there to capture images of Gordy Howe facing off against Wayne Gretzky in the WHA back then. And then these players, the two leagues merged and they became Hartford Whalers and Edmonton Oilers. And that's how they did the cards. But this is a really cool card. And look at this guy playing professional hockey, 30 years after he enters the league in what, like 1945? 35 years later.
48 or 46 or something like that.
Yeah, before 51, like earlier than when his rookie year was. And this is his last regular issue playing days card. I own a copy of it in my collection. I think it's really cool. I like to pair it with his first card, with the rookie card. I think it's such a cool card. I remember, Josh, when I was younger, I thought last cards were cooler than rookie cards. I was, I figured out the way to, I learned more later, but that was my initial, like as a kid, my initial instinct. It was the opposite as far as the way the greater consensus goes. But this is still a really cool card and it's his last one. I love it.
So I appreciate that card, Jeremy, but man, there's a part of me, and it's kind of interesting, again, everyone has their own taste and perspective when it comes to cards. Part of me finds this card cringy, and because he just looks so old, and he looks like he can't even skate anymore, like he's trying to balance, and I don't know. I love the Whalers. I love Gordy Howe. I totally get where you're coming from, but it's like, have you ever gone on YouTube and watched like the videos of Vladimir Putin scoring 45 goals in a KHL All-Star game, and the dude literally can't skate, and yet he he goes to make a move on Sergei Fedorov, and Fedorov falls over because, of course, it's Vladimir Putin. I just kind of get that vibe when I look at that card, and maybe I'm the only person. I could be the only one.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Listen, he looks like a senior. He looks like a grandfather in this picture. So, and he's in his 50s. He looks like he's in his late 50s here. I don't know how old he was in 1979 exactly, but in any event, he's an icon, and he was still playing professional competitive hockey at that age. And he could still skate. So I just think it's a great card.
Do you remember him towards the end of his career? Because I have no problem. Could he move well, or like how did he look on the ice?
I mean, no, I was what, 7 years old? No, I don't remember. But I would have seen him play because my father back in the 70s had season tickets to the Winnipeg Jets in the WHA, and I used to go to games with him as a young kid. And I remember this older couple sat beside us, and every game the lady would always bet me 25 cents on who'd win the game. And she always let me have the Jets. She always took the other team. The Jets were dominant back then. I always won. And then I'd go, and my dad would top it up and buy me a souvenir hockey puck from the souvenir stand.
That's an amazing story.
1977, 78, like in those years. Okay. 2 Gretzky's, guy. And we're into the 5-minute windows. We're already almost through our first 5-minute window. Some cards have sold. So let's take a look at the Gretzky's first. We have a PSA 4 tops and a PSA 7. I'm going to open these up. The 7 has above average eye appeal from PWCC. There it is. And yeah, that's a very nice copy. Overall, great centering, great color. Edges and corners are very nice. Bottom right corner, maybe, a bit of a weakness there. It's tough to scroll in there, but I don't need to take much of a further look than that. This is a very nice copy for a 7. And then you've got the 4 over here, and you can see a corner ding right there, corner issue right there. The color is, you've got some snow going on wherever it's dark, even on the uniform here. Got a bit of a scratch going on the surface over here. Fisheye, what corner, a little bit of corner wear there, more over here, but still not bad for a 4. Like if this was an O-Pee-Chee, I'd call this a great 4 because centering is so much tougher on the O-Pee-Chees. This is a really, really, really nice 4. And I'm surprised it didn't get any eye appeal rating. Meanwhile, the Gordy Howe just sold for $80. Okay, we got to speed through some of this now, Josh. Ray Bork, BGS 9, the Lemieux PSA 8 top sold for $360. And my pick of the night is now up to 900. I don't know how much further it's going to go if I could still hang on to that.
Was that at like 380 when we
Yeah.
first?
It was.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought, oh, this is a great pick. It's going to go. It's got a ways to go. Looks like somebody just bid up someone else who had a big proxy bid in maybe. Malkin Young Gun sells for $444. He just made his parents cry the other day. Good, happy cry. we got the Eric Carlson PSA 10 Young Guns does $138. Nathan McKinnon PSA 9 Future Watch. How is this only $700? And I'm very aware of the Nathan McKinnon because I just picked up a BGS 9 at the card show yesterday in person. So I was surprised how cheap these were going. And I got to pick it up as, consistently cheap. I thought, but this just seems too low to me for being Nathan McKinnon. But in any event, a great card right there. On the second page, we've had some sales. Look at that Connor McDavid 2015 Ultimate Throwback is at $5,000. The Lemieux buyback sold for $350. The Stamkos PMG Green from 2016 did $228, where $80 for his PMG Green from 2021. How the PMG Greens, post 20 teens have fallen. Even the Kucherov only does $252. The Regina Pats Connor Bedard sells for $750. The Jack Hughes Future Watch does $660. The Jack Hughes Young Gun $204, and the McDavid buyback auto does $990. We saw those. Let's keep going down here. The McDavid Cheddar sells for $24. There is a gold parallel, which I think is a cooler card because it's rarer. And then you've got the Game Dated Moments Gold Bedard sells for $336, but the auto patch from Team Canada is still going at $5.25. And we have our first ever, I believe, on the PWCC Weekly show, Connor Bedard Young Gun PSA 10 selling for $1,470. I don't recall seeing another one of these.
No, I think that's the first one.
Yeah. Those were my
What
thoughts.
did the gold Game Dated Moments sell for? The Bedard?
$336.
Wow. So you go back to last June, topped off at over $1,500.
Wow, $1,500 now to $336. Yeah, I'm called it. Yeah, so not surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to page 1 here, and let's go to the top and see what has been sold. We can see that many of the C56s have sold. The notables being the Art Ross does $1,800 in the PSA 1. The other Art Ross is still going at $1,775. Ridpath full body goes for $276. Bruce Stewart, C. Toms, Didier Petrie does $372. $288 on the DeCarry. Edgar Day still going. Moose Johnson going. Frank Patrick still alive at $280. Ernest Russell sells for $198. $2,200 for the Fred Cyclone Taylor PSA 1 and counting. $2,200 and counting for card number 15. Beautiful. Now, if you're someone out there and you own this card and you have it in a higher grade like I do, I might be thinking, oh my gosh, my card is worth so much more. My copy of this card, my personal copy, is a PSA 5. So I should be jumping for joy and celebrating that, oh my gosh, I got a 5 in this. This one is sitting at $2,300, but nuh-uh. I think this is selling for a major premium because of how strong it is for the grade. Yeah. And something that, you got to keep things in check when you're looking, because, it's got to go sort of apples to apples, and it's tough to do with some of these cards. And anyway, that's a really nice price for this low technical grade, but superb eye appeal copy for what it is. Anyway, $2,300 now. It's had a bid since we were hovering on it. Harry Hyland sells for $288, as does Herb Clark. We've got the Laviolette still going, the Marshall still going, Jim Jones. These are some commons. Lester Patrick sells for $690 in the PSA 1, of course. The Nick Ball, $210. The Patty Moran, $420. Riley Hearn, $216. These have all sold. So $210 for the beat up Jack Marshall. Albert Kerr, Alex Curry have sold. The Art Ross is at $13.25 for the second year Art Ross. What else has been sold? The Ridpath sells for $396. The Petrie $456. Meanwhile, Don Smith gets a bid. People are working on these cards. I think we're going to see some action on them. Ernie Johnson at $775. That's good to see. Glass, Fred Lake, those have all sold. Here we go. Cyclone Taylor sells for $1,470. And the George Vezina sells for $13,800.
Wow.
So Gary is out, but is Gary the one that tried to pick another card? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We'll get to the comments once we just do this review. But 13.8 for the PSA 4, Josh. Now, how does that sit with you? What do you think of that sale?
Yeah, I'm just looking right now. It's not quite a all-time record sale. It's the second highest sale for a PSA 4. 15,343 in June of 2022 was the record sale. And actually, I think this one is nicer. That one was egregiously off-centered.
Okay, good. So there you go. That's, it's a different time. Continuing on, Hamby Shore, 564. Jack Dara, Jack McDonald, 870 on McDonald. That's a PSA 6. So the 6s are always going to sell for a premium for the, the non-superstars, I guess you could say. Jack Marshall, 312. James Gardner, 325. The Joe Malone does 1,200 in the PSA 4. Pretty cool to see. Larry Gilmore. There's the Newsy Lalonde does 1,500. Continuing along, Riley Hearn, 468. Sprague Cleghorn, 900. And the Walter Smale, right hand on hip, 1,320. The Cyclone Taylor is still going at 3,700 from C57. The Bobby Hall sells for 3,840. The Gordy Howe SGC1 sells for $250, which, doesn't surprise me based on the condition. But again, someone got into this card for $250. That's like a Mount Rushmore hockey card, according to PSA. Pretty cool. The Bobby Hall, fourth year, PSA 9 does 1,020. That's a nice, healthy price there. Bernie Perrant's pre-rookies up to $54. And like Bobby Burrell said, the way these were shipped, like perforated and folded, really tough to find in good shape. And just in an envelope. I mean, just mailed in the envelope. The Makita does 156. The Esposito is up to 4,800 and then some. The Dryden is still going. So that we saw that $80 on the Gordy, final year Gordy. The PSA 4 Gretzky sells for $720, and the PSA 7 sells for $2,010 for the tops, above average eye appeal. Nice sales. $360 on the tops PSA 8 Mario Lemieux, and the Gretzky, which takes me out of the contest tonight, sells for $1,080. An amazingly beautiful card. We saw those. The McKinnon is still going. Okay, let's go back to the top. I'm going to refresh this now, Josh. Push the sold cards down to the bottom. Oh, Craig's cards won the Art Ross number 12. Very cool. That was Josh's pick, so that means it's out. If we know that that Craig chose that.
Yay for you, Craig. Boo for me. So,
yeah, there you go.
I'm happy for you.
Richie Rocket said, Esposito soon to be 11th. Is there a way to know what his rank was in career points at the time he retired? Yeah, probably there is. Take some extensive research, I would think. Hobby Champs won his only hockey bid, a 205. I don't know what that means, a 200. Oh, here we go. A 2005-6 Black Diamond Double Ruby Lindros out of 100. Hey, there you go. Congratulations, Hobby Champs. Andrew, happy Sunday to you. Brett S., will this Gretzky record ever be broken? 73 shorthanded goals. Yeah, I doubt it. Closest active is Marchand with 35. Well, that's still pretty big number right there. Hobby Champ says that McKinnon is one of the lowest priced megastars in any sport. Yeah, definitely seems to be that way. Cards AH, welcome, says, I still contend that if the hockey hobby is to ever blow up, we will need investors from other sports. And if that happens, the value will be in limited logos, exquisite cards, and PMGs. See, I think you're not. I don't think you're necessarily wrong, Cards Age. The issue I have is that where you say we will need investors, because investors are only good if there's collectors to buy from investors, right? And I think we need collectors as well. But I do agree with this. Cards people are familiar with. Yes, I think that applies to collectors, and maybe you mean collector investors or invest electors. maybe that's what you're even getting at. Hey, Kirill Kaprizov scored his 40th and 41st goals tonight. And again, congratulations to Craig, who won the Art Ross card number 12 rookie tonight.
So, Jeremy, I was just looking at all-time scoring leaders, and based on when these guys played, I'm pretty sure Esposito was finished second all-time, was number 2 all-time at the time of retirement, because the guys ahead of him are Gretzky, who basically started his career when Esposito, then Yager, Messier, Gordy Howe would have been number 1, Ron Francis, Marcel Dion, Yzerman, Lemieux, and Joe Sakic. So I would assume Esposito, Gordy be 1 and Esposito be 2.
Yeah, he was probably second. That was actually easier than I had thought it would be. So yeah, I think you're definitely right. Cards AH says, I feel most collectors are investors to some extent. Yeah, I mean, I think many are. And but if you're just putting together your Topps base set every year, I don't think you are. But I think a lot of people do that. So I don't know if it's most, but I think many certainly are. Okay, we've had some more cards sell. We're down to 3.5 minutes in the current window. So let's just see. Dunderdale 396. Those are still going. Okay, that's where we saw cards that had sold. So still alive in Survivor is the Cyclone Taylor. Did Laura's Lalonde sell from the C55 set? Let's just see what's still going here. I'm going to refresh one more time, and we'll just push some of these down. So Laura chose the C55 Lalonde. So Art Ross is there. I don't see the Lalonde.
Up 2 rows.
No, she took the C55. So Laura's.
I'm sorry.
No worries. Laura is out. BC Neal is still in with the Cyclone Taylor over here. Bobby Burrell is out. And I forget, the Esposito, was that out already, or is that still going? I think that was still going. The Esposito has now been sold. So let's scroll down and see what the Esposito did. It was at like $4,800. And now, final sale with the 20% buyer's premium, $5,760 on the Esposito. Laura says, rats. Sorry about that, Laura. Todd is out. Our winner is BC Neal. And Bobby Burrell, we'll give Bobby a nod as well. He couldn't get that was his guess as well. But BC Neal has won tonight's Survivor because of this card right here. Just going to scroll up to it right over here. The C57 1912 Fred Cyclone Taylor is still going. So BC Neal is our winner tonight. Congratulations. And I'm going to present you with your big prize right now. Congratulations, BC Neal.
Bragging rights.
There we go. Good for you. Good stuff. Sorry for your luck on that, Laura. It's pretty random, right? There's no real skill involved in this, but it's definitely a fun little addition to the show. Okay, I also want to go to page 2. I had these out separate, so let's see what's going on here. The McDavid is still going at $5,500. It was $5,000 a few minutes ago, Josh, when we looked. Mm-hmm. We saw these had all sold. The McDavid buyback $990. Yeah, everything else has been sold on this page, it looks like. Cheddar, McDavid auto patch does $690. I was at the card show yesterday. Someone had either this card or one very similar. Maybe the one they had was earlier, a year earlier, but they were asking like $3,000 for it. I thought it seemed high. I just, inquired out of curiosity. But a nice sale here, a nice buy, I think, for $690. Josh, do you remember what these were going for way back when?
Oh, the Team Canada. I can look it up really quick. I was looking up the McDavid Ultimate Auto to see kind of where that one was at.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I just want to do a couple of quick comments. Craig Card says, I'm only missing the C57 Art Ross from the Bruins related checklist. Have only seen one copy recently and it was trashed. Yeah, all C57s are tough. I used to collect the set, and I would take any card I could get. It didn't matter. I was happy with a 1 with a crease through it. I didn't care. I've given up on that set. I'm no longer collecting it, but very good. Yeah, Craig says that C57s are definitely the toughest, and Not My Chair is back tonight. Best WrestleMania ever. Y'all, the best wrestling match the best wrestling match of all time just happened. Wow. Well, that's big. Thanks for letting us know.
Okay.
Not my chair. Go ahead.
So I have your info here. All-time high. Looks like there was 3 sales last summer, or last spring and then summer for $2,750.
So this card,
what? Yeah, those are raw.
$2,750 for this card last summer, and now it sells tonight for $690. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense. That's how it goes. So, yeah, a cautionary tale. McDavid does 6,600. Were you looking up some data on this card out of curiosity, Josh?
Yeah, I was. Actually, 9,600 is the top that a PSA 10 sold for once, which is crazy
96,
because what's that out of 175? Is that?
Yeah.
Auto out of 175 for 9,600. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is. All right, let's see what is left to go tonight. Okay, and I'm seeing a couple conversations about the Coke. First of all, Millie Curie, hello to you. Welcome to the show. Says that Coca-Cola Bernie Perrant is still going, and yes, there it is. The Jerry Cheevers is still going, but the Johnny Bauer has been sold to none other than our friend the Professor. Picked up the Johnny Bauer 1965 Coca-Cola card. And congratulations to you, Professor. Can't go wrong with the Johnny Bauer.
Nope.
But the Bernie Perrant still going. This is a card that, I could see it gaining popularity as time goes by. The McKinnon's been bid up to $775. The Bork BVG or BGS 9, $480. The Bork rookie. $3,800 on the Cyclone Taylor from 57. Great card. Ernie Johnson still going, C55. Jack Laviolette. Notice these are all PSA 6s that are still going from the C55 set, except for the Art Ross. The 6s are, tough grade. 86. Josh. Okay, everybody. 86 just got here. We're going to start over again now, guys. We're going to start over again. So go take a bathroom break, grab a glass of water, whatever you want. We're going to reset everything. All right. Welcome back. Welcome to the show. 86. Ernie Johnson, Jack Laviolette, and Joe Hall, all PSA 6s. And we still need bids on Ernie and Joe to go to the next level. Joe Hall, this is one that I still need for my set, but I will settle for a nice 4 or a 5. Rage is here, everybody. Rage is also here. Welcome, Rage. Welcome. Newsy Lalonde. Newsy Lalonde, C56. The last card in the set, PSA 1.5, is at $3,300. Amazing. If I think about my copy of this card, I think mine is a 2. It's one of the lowest graded cards in my whole C56 set. But I'm just going to go look at it because I'm going to show you guys my 2. I love it. I'm just going to show you guys mine just to give you an idea. That's a 1.5. I don't have it in hand. There's a picture of mine. There you can see it's a 2. I had this graded myself. Isn't that gorgeous, Josh?
Very nice.
Look at the uniform rounding on the corners, the centering, the color. Centering is not perfect, but it's nice. The color's amazing. Oh, love it. And I mean, I didn't know what this card would be, what these would sell for today. So seeing this one at 3,300 makes me feel good about my 2, which I think is, as nice as this one. The Art Ross, second year Art Ross, PSA 4 is a 15.25. Nice, healthy price on that. Joseph Katerinik, I don't even know how you say that, but he's at $350. The Frank Patrick card number 1, PSA 1 with a mark is at $330. The Cyclone Taylor, PSA 1, $2,900. And the Jack Laviolette at $390. So we're running out of cards that are still going. That's it. We're basically, Josh, we're pre-war with 2 cards from the 60s, 1 from the 80s, and 1 from the 2010s. Still going right now, everybody. 86 says, don't forget, you can always catch this and all previous episodes on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. 86, you're hired. You are hired. Rage says, I just found an O-Pee-Chee 1990 Fedorov Red Army and then found the whole set in my childhood monster box. Yeah. Do you guys remember if you were collecting the Red Army Fedorov O-Pee-Chee card back in the day, there was an issue with that card. It had like a little, they all, I believe, had like a pinhole in them right out of the pack, which was just a weird thing, but that's the way they
I don't
were.
remember that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I that's my memory. That's my recollection. I think that'll prove to be true. But that made them really tough to get in, without it, if there even were any. Hobby Champ saying, just saying, his hype is outperforming his on ice play. Great goal scorer, but way behind the big three early on. Who is he?
I think you missed his You got to go to the comment above.
Oh, here we are. Sorry. Thanks, Josh. And thanks. Okay, now I know. Now I'm going to learn what Hobby Champ was talking about. He says, does it matter that Bedard is nearly minus 40 and has sub 40% faceoff percentage? Okay, no, I don't think that matters at all. Not saying he's not good or anything, but Gretzky, Crosby, McDavid were way ahead of him in rookie years. Okay, fair comment. I don't think it matters because he's 18 years old. Not to say those guys weren't, but he's 18 years old, and he, I believe, also plus minus. It's a team stat. What was Steve Yzerman's plus minus in his rookie year when he joined the lowly Detroit Red Wings? And what was Mario Lemieux's plus minus in his rookie year when he joined the lowly Pittsburgh Penguins? And I don't know. Maybe they were positive. I have a feeling they weren't, but maybe they were. I mean, those were horrible teams when they both joined them. So no, I don't think. And then faceoff percentage will go up, will increase for him as he gets stronger. Faceoffs are so much about strength, and I think he will. I think he will get there in time. So your question does it matter? Do you find his
22 goals underwhelming?
No, I do not find anything about Connor Bedard underwhelming. Although I say that without also mentioning, and I should, that my expectations on Connor Bedard were never Connor McDavid level rookie year. He's a smaller guy. I never had that expectation of him.
There's almost nothing he can do to live up to his card values. I mean, if you really there's almost no level of production that's possible that he could achieve that would justify these prices. And so it's all, that's what you have to recognize. It's all hype.
Yeah. Well, and Hobby Champ says it well right here. His hype is outperforming his on ice play. Yes, for sure. Great goal scorer, but way behind the big three early on. And yeah, that could easily change. Professor picked up the 2017 Exquisite Collection Charlie McAvoy rookie patch out of 299. That's a cool card, Professor. Congratulations. Rage, appreciate you. 86 as plus minus is the most overrated stat in hockey. It's not even like a personal stat. It is, but it really isn't. It's almost like if we had and maybe we have a stat in football for lost yards. Yards. So if you're on the field and there are yards lost on a down, that would count against you. I know it's a bit different. I know you can't find an exact analogy here, but it's similar to that, right, Josh? Like, yeah, maybe the O-line should be penalized, but everybody else on the field maybe shouldn't be penalized. And, plus minus affects everybody on ice except the goalie.
The instances where I do think there's merit to it are when you look at like defensemen that have played 20 years that'll have like a huge plus minus or something like that, where there's such a large sample size, and and as your main job as a defenseman is to stop the other team from scoring goals, that then I think that there is some it's like, okay, after 20 years, if you're a plus 200, you probably had an impact personally on the preventing teams from scoring on you. But in general, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Brett says Mario was minus 33 in his rookie year, and Yzerman was minus 19. So there you go, guys. Two, amazing players who came on to bottom of the barrel teams when they entered the league, and look what ended up happening. I mean, they're both all-time greats. Mario's a goat. He's a goat, absolutely. Yzerman is right there, So, but to the original question that Hobby Champs asked is, does it matter? My answer is no, it does not matter at all. There might be other things that matter, but not his plus minus, not to me anyway. Rage says, I remember the Eric Lindros, Deschadan, and many more. I think he's Sorry, Rage, I just don't understand the comment. Rally says, y'all need to stop looking for reasons to discredit Bedard because your first instinct is to deny the hype. Wow. Wow, what a comment. I mean, first of all, there's a lot there to unpack in this comment. Looking for reasons to discredit Bedard. That is human nature. I think that's people are going to do that just because people love to focus on the negative. So Rally is bang on that does go on because your first instinct is to deny the hype. And I mean, listen, I personally have always felt that he was overhyped by the hobby. And, that there's nothing wrong with that. That's just simple. But you can, and I don't feel like Rally was talking to me here, but just to be clear, you can feel that someone is overhyped, but not deny it. I am still very excited for Connor Bedard to be in the league and for him to, I'm hoping he becomes our next McDavid or Crosby, but time will tell.
Well, I think too that you have to sometimes separate too that asking questions and wondering and trying to be naturally curious is not necessarily discrediting anyone or showing less enthusiasm. So I don't know exactly what Rally is speaking to, but when you say something like, is 22 goals impressive? It's just trying to understand in the context of, Teemu Selanne had 76 goals, different era, different time, lots of reasons for that. But when you have the most hyped rookie in the hobby ever, I think it is fair to ask if the performance justifies sort of the hype at this point. Doesn't mean you're discrediting, you're just trying to understand.
But like you said, there's nothing he could do realistically, or there's nothing that he was going to do that would justify the level of hype. So he was, from a hobby perspective, he was in a no-win situation. On a personal perspective, he's a winner. He'll be doing great.
Of course.
He's having a great life, even with all the losses this year. But they're going to have another great draft pick. They're going to get better as time goes by, and they'll probably be on the upswing for several years now.
Okay, so I got something great. Just got to mention this to you that I did not know this till today, and somebody mentioned it to us for our show. Chicago actually will have better odds of getting the number one pick this year than they did last year. So can you imagine if they get the number one pick again, and now you have Macklin Celebrini?
Well, that's like the Oilers. The Oilers that had 4 in a row or something like that. 3
years in a row or something like that. Yeah.
Hopefully for the Blackhawks and Bedard's future, they're better at drafting than the Oilers were.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see. The professor is giving Bobby Burrell a thank you for the comment about the difficulty in the Coca-Cola cards. He went and picked up the Frank Mahovlich PSA 6.
Nice.
Congratulations again, Professor, on that pickup. But I think I saw a comment from the professor here that he picked up. Yeah, he also picked up the McKinnon SP Authentic Future Watch. That's a big one. And a great card. And now, Professor, we are now officially Card Bros. We are officially Card Bros, Professor. We probably were already somewhere else, but we both have a copy of that one right now.
I think the professor has every card, Jeremy. So
he's picking up a very diverse collection. 86 says Josh is right. Plus minus is a key stat for D-men. But to me, it's not like. To me, it's not a key stat. Maybe that's what in contract negotiations they look at it closely. It probably works well in favor of team management. But goalie just lets an easy one by. There's no errors in hockey, right? If there was an error by the goalie who let in a shot he should have saved, that might negate the minus from counting against a defenseman who maybe did everything right to give the goalie a clear view of the shot. Right, that's a defenseman job often is to give the goalie a view. Never mind blocking. If you're not going to block it, make sure the goalie can see it. So I'm not a big fan of the plus minus as any way to assess a player's success because defensemen are there to stop goals, so it's important from that reason. But if the line in front of them isn't scoring, if you have a defensive pair that isn't on the ice regularly with the top offensive line on the team, they're destined to be a minus defenseman. So I just don't like the stat at all for assessing any player's value in the sport. I think it's a bunky. I think it's just a bad stat. I don't think it's for me. I wouldn't consider it too key. Although I would consider an adjusted version of a key where you're adjusting out for these things that, that just don't make as much sense. Like the goalie letting in a poor shot, or a bad goal, or you're shut out and you're the lines in front of you. Maybe your team had 40 shots, but that goalie was on a heater and didn't let a thing pass. Like how can you penalize the goaltenders, the defenseman for that?
They have all these advanced analytics now, like defensive net rating. And I think like when they go into contract negotiations, it's kind of funny. Players now will bring in, it'll be the player agent and a data analyst that will argue the advanced metrics on behalf, like for offensive players, it's Corsi 4 metrics now and all these kind of crazy things. And so, yeah, I don't think that plus minus is really by the league and front offices is seen as relevant maybe as it used to be.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think so either. All right, some cards have sold. The Art Ross C55 sells for $2,280. The Newsy Lalonde C56 PSA 1.5 sells for $4,200. That is a huge sale for that card.
Wow.
I huge sale for that card. The Cyclone Taylor PSA 1 card number 15 sells for $3,600, and the Frank Patrick card number 1 sells for $444. And on page 2, the McDavid does 66. So those have all now been sold. And all the cards that we were watching, 109 of them tonight, probably a record for this show, they have all now been sold. So what we can do is we're going to go to all items, all hockey items, and it's not just, let's pick hockey and let's search. So it looks like everything has been sold. There are no hockey cards left in the auction, I don't believe. Let's search by highest price. And let's just see what the top few cards were. Vezina first overall, 13.8. The McDavid, 6,600. The Esposito, 5,760. The C57 Cyclone does 4,800. The C56 Newsy, 42. The Bobby Hull.
Jeremy, on the Lalonde, it's only the third sale, but the previous high was $462 back in 2017. So that's you're right. That's
for a 1.5.
For 1.5, yeah.
Yeah, you really need to look at that 1.5, right? To know what.
Yeah.
Because easily just might not be the same card. Bobby Hull, 3840. The Fred Taylor, the Cyclone, C56 does 3,600. So this is the same player as this card right here. His C57 does 4,800 and his C56 does 3,600. So the C57s are just like, it's the grade difference too, but yeah, C57s are very good card. But what a beauty. I love this card. So nice. The Art Ross, second year Art Ross does 2,280. Look at that. The second year Art Ross outsells the first year, both Art Rosses, likely because of the condition. 2,130 on card number 12, which was picked up tonight by who picked that up again? Someone picked that up. Who picked that up again? Darn it, it's far up here. Forget who picked it up. I know one of you. Oh, it was Craig. Craig's cards picked it up. Congratulations again, Craig. And the Gretzky, $2,000 on Gretzky. The other Art Ross does 1,800, and the Lalonde C55 does 1,500. And Bedard makes a showing here in the top 15 or so. So Laura should have picked the C56. There you go. Hobby Champ says, I think plus minus matters a little for the top line forwards because they see the most ice time. There's a reason most of the best players are positive players, but of course, there's better ways to rank it. And if you look at, year over year, you look at the top plus minus players, they're all like the top ones, they're often not superstars. They're good, and they're often defensemen because they get a lot of ice time. So if we go look right now at, I'm going to go look at the plus minus leaders right now.
Gustav Forsling for the Panthers.
Gustav Forsling, number 1 with a plus 48 for the Panthers. Ekholm on the Oilers, defenseman, plus 41. DeMello on the Jets, a plus 41. Like the first guy that we really know about here is, 5 and 6 are Zach Hyman and Connor McDavid. and then Nathan McKinnon, then Austin Matthews. So, numbers 6, 7, and 8 are superstars, but 1, 2, and 3 aren't. Forsling, Ekholm, and DeMello. I mean, most people haven't even heard of Forsling and DeMello. Ekholm, you've probably heard about. Quinn Hughes, number 4, you've heard about. And then it gets in, even number 7 is Hronek, the defenseman on Vancouver. Bouchard, number 10. It's a lot of defensemen.
You make a good point, though, on goaltending. Like, the Wild have had really subpar goaltending all year. Just nobody's played that great for us. And so in that scenario, how do you have a good plus minus?
Exactly.
When your goalies aren't making the routine saves.
Exactly. And if it is coming into play for contract negotiation or, scouting of players, the scouts, the management, they're going to be advanced enough to know that either the plus minus is indicative. I think that's the first thing you look at. What is this player's plus minus? Okay, now we know what it is. Now, is it indicative of their play? Mm-hmm. Yes or no? And you might dive in deep and go to your scouts who are watching these things and saying, yeah, he's minus 20 on the season, but that's because of this, and that. And that one game, this happened. He was on the ice for 5 goals, and their goalie just, was sucking that night type of thing or whatever it might be. So, yeah. All right. Well, hey, that was fun, Josh. I feel like a really interesting episode, at least for me, because of all the pre-war, the C series talk, the tobacco cards. That was a lot of fun and some great, like that Esposito was just an amazing card and some huge sales on these these C series cards tonight. Really nice to see. Really nice to see a lot of that.
Yeah, I agree. The last, I want to say, like month and a half have been more modern, has been the focus. So it was kind of nice to get back and have a very heavy vintage auction tonight.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Everybody. This was fun. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I think next Sunday we will not be doing this show. Looked at the auction, checked out the preview. I'll show you guys what we're talking about just so you can see next week's auction. If we switch to that one, here we go. Should come up momentarily here. 145 cards. While there are, a few really nice ones, wasn't an auction that, was filled with cards that I'm really excited about. Josh and I conferred. He felt the same way. So, and now, however, there could be a bunch that flash in, and if there's if there's a good 10 or 20 cards that flash in that are awesome, maybe we'll change that and come back. But for right now, the plan is to take next Sunday off and come back the Sunday after with another episode of the PWCC Weekly Hockey Auction Ending Watch Party. But yeah, Rage, thank you very much. 86, thank you. Hobby Champs, thank you. Hobby Champs says this is random, but do you think there were less Topps hockey cards produced from the 70s and 80s in O-Pee-Chee because hockey? I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe, but I always thought no. I don't know. I'm gonna take, but I'd want Bobby's opinion on that. I just don't know myself. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. Laura, good to see you again. Thank you for joining us. Craig, thank you, and congratulations on your purchase. Rally, thanks for stopping in tonight, guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in. BC Neil, congratulations for winning the last card standing auction survivor tonight. That's fun to do with you guys. Josh, you got an episode dropping later tonight, I'm guessing?
3 a.m. like every Monday. Excited for that, and we're getting close to the playoffs.
Yeah, we are.
Hockey's gonna heat up.
The Art Ross Trophy race is fun. Kucherov is an absolute machine. Him, McKinnon, and McDavid are duking it out there. It's going to be fun to watch how that ends. And I'm cheering on the Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators right now, because if they can win games and my Flames can keep on losing, we will leapfrog them down the standings and increase our draft position, which is what I'm hoping for. Brett S., thank you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Gary, Gong Show. He's going to be tuning in tomorrow for the Gong Show. It's must-see podcast for sure. Thank you, Robert Scott. Go Canada, says Laura. Craig says, I love listening to the Gong Show while working. There you go. So do I. All right, guys. That's it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We'll see you again soon. Have a great week ahead. This is Sunday night. So enjoy the rest of the week. Millie Curie, thank you. God, I got you in time here. First time logging in. Go Jets. Awesome. Good to see you. Peace out, GC. And with that, this episode of the PWCC Weekly Hockey Auctioneering Watch Party is over.